The heart of a lot of this sort of like inner work and this inner spiritual work, it really just involves having a lot of self-awareness, really having a heightened self-awareness. That's what I noticed, especially when I got into meditation, right? You just start being more aware of your surroundings and the way that you act, your behavioral characteristics, the way that you think, your emotions. That's all that any of this work is. It's just shining the light of awareness on all of these things all of the time. This is why you might meet people who are acting in a way that's very, like very mean people for like people don't even realize they're acting the way that they are most of the time because they lack self-awareness. And that's what spirituality is all about. It's really heightening that awareness. It's essentially all about self-growth, right? It's about evolving to the highest and best self that you can possibly be. I would say fundamentally that's why we start. That's why we start doing this kind of work. That's why I started. And when you really start doing this and you really get into it, it becomes the most important thing to you. Noticing things about yourself, your behaviors, the way that you act, the way that you talk to yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, etc. For example, I noticed the other day, I had a realization that I tend to project my own insecurities onto other people. I might judge people for things that I'm actually afraid of doing myself, or that I may actually do already myself, or maybe just things I feel like there might be something lacking in me, or maybe there's some sort of fear in me for something, and I'll judge other people that do that thing, right? And what the mind wants to do when you have these little insights and these little realizations about yourself, like maybe you pick up on some sort of behavioral pattern that you have in relationships or something that you do that you started being honest with yourself about and you want to take some accountability for, because again, that's what this work is about. Really, it's about accountability as well. Your mind is going to instantly want to start making these changes. So for example, in relationships, maybe you realize you get way too quickly attached to people right away in the beginning. And you're like, wow, I never really realized that before, but now it's become apparent to me and I really want to make a difference. I really want to just stop doing this. I want to be very unattached, right? And the mind is going to, sort of masculine energy in us is going to rise up and we're going to instantly want to do something. We're going to feel like we have to do something to make these changes right away. And that's not a bad thing. It's good that we're taking accountability and we actually want to change, because most people don't even want to do this, right? But I'm realizing, and what I realized for myself the other day with the insecurity example, is that sometimes just simply by being aware of it is actually all you really need to do. And it'll kind of fix itself over a period of time. So for example, back to that relationship example with getting too attached, it's not that you necessarily have to try to detach yourself from people, but more so just become highly, highly aware of when you do become attached. It might not be about exerting any energy into it all, but by simply just observing your actions and observing your behaviors, observing the way you think, the things that you say, by just repeatedly observing these things, observing your behavioral characteristics and actions. Sometimes many of them will just sort of correct themselves over a period of time. And I've seen this a lot for myself too. With a lot of this work, I've been very heavily involved in this for the past 5 years or so. And for a lot of it, it wasn't that I actually really did anything. I mean, you have to make some changes to a certain degree, but really, it kind of happens very naturally. Awareness alone is sometimes the key. Awareness is the key to overcoming a lot of your pain, a lot of the insecurities you deal with, self-esteem issues, your fears, your desires. By just simply becoming aware of them without judgment, without letting your mind get too much in the way, just simply being aware of it and noticing it and observing it without judgment, it kind of dissolves in a sense. Whatever problem you might be facing in life, by simply shining the light of awareness on it, you realize it was never really a problem. Not to say that the situation or the event is going to just magically disappear, but the way that you perceive it is going to be different. Because that's really all fears and worldly problems and things of this nature are. It's just things that we might not be dealing with. It's just like our repressed shadow. It's just something we're burying deep inside of us that's hiding away, kind of lurking in the shadows. But when you simply just become aware of it and you face it, your perception of it changes. And this is, if you've watched my videos on the letting go technique, that's really all that is. It's just shining the light of awareness on the way that you feel. So if you've been practicing the technique consistently, you know what I'm saying. A lot of the things that maybe things you were trying to let go of from the past, a lot of pain that was maybe stored in your body, a lot of things that maybe you're worried about, a lot of fear, you realize when you practice the letting go technique and you face the emotion completely raw, you realize that the emotion kind of dissolves and you no longer view that specific thing the same way anymore. It no longer becomes something that distresses you or angers you or upsets you. And I realized that this is something you can do for anything by simply just shining that light of awareness, by focusing on something entirely, again, without thinking about it so much, but just by letting the thing be there, whatever it might be, just simply observing it. That's really the key to fully integrating it. And this is why a lot of people genuinely want to change, but they aren't actually aware of their behaviors and their actions when the thing is happening, because we act so unconsciously, right? We aren't really aware of the way that we're acting. So the person who has, anger outbursts, says really hateful things to others, and then maybe they regret it right after, and they want to change, but they can't because they aren't aware of it in the moment. So it just sort of happens and they don't realize it until after. So this is why when you have this more heightened sense of awareness, you start noticing those things. You start noticing the way that you act, your behaviors, thoughts, emotions, etc. And you simply just put awareness on them. This is something that has to be done often. This is what a spiritual awakening really is. It's when you have an immense amount of self-awareness. And this self-awareness will fix, quote unquote, most of the things that you deem are problems or wrong with yourself or even wrong with other people or the world around you, just by simply shining that awareness on them. But back to what I was saying about my own situation with, projecting my own insecurities. It's like I didn't even with all of this work that I've done, I didn't even realize I was doing it. And then essentially I just became aware of it, and I didn't really do anything. I wanted to. I was like, what do I have to do? I was very eager to try to change and fix something. But then I was like, just hold your horses. Take a step back. Maybe it's not really about doing anything per se, but just by simply recognizing it and noticing it, that was all that had to happen. That was all I had to do, or at least that was the start. And now I'm going to continuously notice and recognize it when it happens and when it comes up. And I bet that it's going to eventually dissolve away. So whatever it might be for you, whether it's some sort of thing you're going through in life, some sort of worry or pain, it's important to not get too wrapped up in the thoughts and the emotions about whatever it is, but to simply put that light of awareness on it. See, the problem is our mind is just like our mental chatter will carry us away into this abyss of thinking. Our emotions too will just get stuck in all of this pain. Be aware of those emotions. Be aware of those thoughts. You yourself are sitting behind all that. You're able to notice the thoughts. You're able to notice the emotions. You're able to notice the way that you act, the things that you do. You can be aware of all of that stuff. You can sort of observe all of that stuff. See, the trick here is, I don't necessarily mean to literally just sit on your ass and do nothing. I mean to just sit and be with whatever the thing is in silence. Just be with it, whatever the feeling is, whatever the fear is, whatever the worry is, whatever the regret is. Don't get lost in this rabbit hole of thinking and allowing all of these emotions to weigh you down. Simply just sit there and be with it all. Just let it rise, let it come up, and just simply be. I think you'll be very surprised at the results of this when you practice it for a while. It might not be right away. It might not be the first time you do this, but just try it. The next time you feel like something needs to change, the next time you notice that fear coming up, the next time you notice that guilt or that eagerness to want to do something, start by just simply shining that light of awareness on it.